Welcome back, guys, to another deck profile video here with Chris from CCJ Descent Elites. Wanted to go over a tournament deck that I ran over the weekend, which I ended up placing first. We went 8-0 with this deck, undefeated, and the video is not clickbait. I did not play Obuni. This is a Vegito deck that does not run Obuni. Now, I'm sure someone in the comments go, oh, well, you just don't run it because you don't have it, and if you guys watch a lot of my videos, you guys know I do have them. I have the package here, blah, 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 all the other fun stuff here. But I don't think this card is necessary in this deck. Light. I think... Do I think it's a good card? Yes. Do I think it needs to be banned? No. That could be a whole other video. But I don't think this card is absolutely necessary, at least for the version of the deck that I play. Because I don't play either one of these. I ran them in my side deck, and they never were sided in at all. I never felt like I needed to. I never felt like I really wanted to. Never felt like my matchups were to a point where I needed to run this. But I feel like if you play the deck, at least this variation of the deck, you don't need these cards. So, they were in the side deck. Like I said, I never touched them. But just knowing that, hey, you can play this deck without playing Obuni. So you draw, you can awaken at 1 on turn 0, or basically on turn 1 or turn 2. When one of your battle cards or Unison is removed, you draw 2. This side, you get the restand energy and draw one if one of your cards. Your blue cards are removed, and you can give a Unison triple strike. We're going to go back to this later, because this was my special sauce in the deck, and ended up winning me a lot of my games. So put him there. And so we'll start here. We have the Self-Awakening package, Dr. Rhoda's, and then the one J. Cole. We call him J. Cole here at the store. And Dr. Rhoda, you can awaken. He dies, you get the restand energy. So you're basically, this is basically a draw 2, restand 1 for 1 energy. He's a blocker, so they're going to have to remove him. This, same thing, blocker. This one doesn't get the restand energy, but you can reveal the top card of your opponent's deck with the battle card. This gets revenge. You make your opponent shuffle, and it becomes a blocker revenge. So we have 5 targets there. I felt like that was plenty for this deck. 2 Dispo Sonic Subversions. This is a card that it's kind of a tech card. I think I may cut it. I've been really hyped on this card ever since he released in Draftbox-Ku. I made a video about it being one of the most underrated SRs in the set. I bought these when they were like $1. So obviously it was good value then. But $2, not $2, 2 drop, 15k. 2 different autos here. If it's removed or KO'd, you get the draw a card. So this is basically a draw 2, restand 1 if you count it with your leader. And the first auto is really important. Whenever your opponent plays a battle card, you can return this card to your hand and then choose one card in your life, add it to your hand, and then that card gets bounced back to their hand. It has to be greater than their current energy. So arrival targets, it's really nice. If they play like the DBS arrival target, or a cooler, or just something, you can, before they can target this, you can return it to your hand, and then you can bounce that card back. So they can't, so they can target this card, but it goes back to your hand. It works for Fu. It works for Xenocell. It does work for Fu because it's coming into play. It's a weird auto thing. It's Dragon Ball, how they're not transitions, but how their rulings do with counter window 1 and counter window 2 and things like that. But so it works on Fu, it works on Xenocell, doesn't technically work on Smoke Dragon. Actually, it would, yeah, because when Smoke Dragon hits the field, it'll go back up to 10. So yeah, it would hit. So it basically hits every secret rare in the game. Now it doesn't stop autos from going off. So if they play Xenocell and they have more than 5 energy, they'll still be able to rip cards from your hand. But that card goes back to their hand and they lose all their successor targets and you just take a life. It's pretty good. And it's 15k, so you can swing at a lot of stuff. Now here's where we start getting into spicy stuff. So you guys have watched my other Vegito video I put out forever ago, and it was another a tournament. I think I went undefeated in that tournament too. I played the red-blue engine. And I think with the new stuff in set 10, I think this deck just gets way better. So 4 of the Mecha Freezes for check lands, 4 of the Bureau Super Combos for consistency purposes, 4 4 of the Tyrannical Assault Coolers, and 4 of the Hercule-Bu Super Combo. So we'll start here with Cooler. Well, actually, we'll start with the Super Combo. You can restand energy, a red-blue energy, on your opponent's turn. So this means, so if you're tapped out, you have a blocker on board, you have, you know, a blue battle card, you're going to be able to restand at least 1 energy from that, and then 1 energy from this. And that's really strong. It makes your crackback, it makes your crackback extremely difficult to deal with, because they don't know what's coming. And, you know, you can play that, you can, you know, arrival out 2 of these coolers, or maybe, you know, a cooler and you know, and a Hercule, but you have possibilities are endless with the blue deck, being able to just energy manipulation. Cooler comes into play next to battle cards ignoring barrier by 10. This works really well. Every matchup I played this weekend, even though I went undefeated, every matchup was pretty intense. This helped me a lot against AOD. It helped me a lot against Ginyu. I was able to, you know, knock battle cards down from the Ginyu, the Ginyu Swarm. I was able to remove the 1-drop Bibbidi on the board for AOD. Stops a few turns. It's just a really strong card. And now you have a 20k double strike on board that can just swing at Unisons, just pressure. It's really good. And then Hercule-Bu. Hercule-Bu is really good. It comes out for 1 blue, and you see Cooler comes out for 1 red. So you just kind of cognizant of that. I generally use my mono blue energy to play him out, and then I'll use the multicolor obviously for that one. He comes out, you draw the card, you neg a card by 10, and at the end of your turn you can choose a red or blue battle card other than Hercule-Bu returned to your hand. So we can return him to our hand, which is really nice. I play this instead of running the combo attack Cooler. I just feel like it's better suited for the deck. Having more arrival targets, being able to just throw out more bodies, I think is a better option. So we run those. That is the red-blue package. Now on to some utility. 4 18s. They are 3-drop, draw 2. 20-drop. I mean, you know, a 20k. What's you know, that's a really good stat line there. Then we run 4 topos for defensive purposes. Still one of the best negates in the game. Obviously, there's a lot of things now that can stop Topo from hitting the board for his auto to go off, but you know, you're kind of playing that risk anyways. It's a really good card. Still shuts down a lot of turns. Just people not being able to just continue, you know, their onslaughts because they can't deal with this card. 2 Ultra Instincts. I know this card's going up. It's like $15 right now. Don't buy a full playset. Just don't. Sorry, I stuttered there a little bit, but just don't. This card should not be $15. It is a $3-4 card. The only one that should be expensive is Cell, because it just is insane. But this should be like a $4 or $5 card. So just wait for the drop, because it will again, and then buy a full playset of them. But I don't think a full playset's needed really in this deck. I think 2's fine. If you're running mono blue, you may want to run 3. But on your turn, this is a 15k draw 1, and on your opponent's turn, it's a free 15k because you get the restand in energy. What's nice is that you can use this sort of as a sensu bean. You can do this, and let's say you have a mono blue energy open, you can restand a multicolor. That way, if you want to, you know, use a defensive step for topo afterwards, you can do that. So it's kind of an interesting effect if you don't have a sensu bean on board. One of the 100% Frieza. This card won me the tournament. No lie. Very big double-edged sword though. No defensive purposes on this. No barrier. No deflect. So it's really, it can be hit by every counterplay in the game. However, if this hits the field, your opponent is not going to have fun. So against all these really wide board, you know, decks right now, if they don't stop this card from hitting the board, they're done. So you swing this, it's a 30k triple strike, but when it swings, doesn't matter if it gets negated. You choose all your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and then get minus 30k. It's everything. And when you minus one of your opponent's battle cards with just any card, this is just the second auto, your opponent has to drop 2 cards from the top of their deck. So to win the tournament in my finals, I played against this guy who played a very interesting Android 21 deck. He had like 5 battle cards on board. He had 10 cards in his drop area. I did a little bit of math. I played this, swung, and then he had to mill 10 cards and ended up winning. Comes in clutch. I only ran 1. I'm gonna probably bump this up to 2. just so I make sure I see it consistently. But this card here, if they don't have a counter for it, it's game over. If they're at low life, obviously, you have just a way of just throwing down pressure on this. Maybe throwing one of these on top of there makes it really hard to combo out of. And if they have a big board already, now they're losing their entire board of resources to get, you know, hit by this. And then they're milling cards. Now they're losing more resource. It's just a lot of stuff. So definitely gonna run 2 of these. Just some blue stuff. 4D magic, 4 Sensu Bean. Nothing really else to say with those. Just running them since it's blue. 1 Desperate Measure. Didn't come in clutch the way I thought it was going to. I ran this because I thought people were going to be playing Topo and Kakunsa, and I didn't play against a single one the entire tournament, all 4 rounds. But this can bounce back any battle card that's being played 2 or less instead of being played. And then you can also bounce back a 3 or less blue battle card on your side. So we can bounce back this, because it is a blue battle card, or we can bounce back this. So we can bounce back either a rival target or a drawing target. So we run one of those. We like counterplays in blue. We run the 4 Trunks. Best counterplay I feel in the game. Bounce back anything in the game. Just need a Unison 2 or more to play it out for free. Or if you just have 5 energy up and you don't have a Unison, you just tap it for 5 and play it. So now we get into my Unisons. So this card here overperformed for me. This card is sick. This is probably one of the best Unisons in the game when it comes to dealing with board control. I think the only one that kind of counters this is Shinran. I think Shinran's right there with it. Maki Cabra obviously is good for it defensive wise, but this and Shinran can just demolish boards. So this is a 20k dual attack blocker as well that can also -3 and remove 2 cards ignoring barrier. So they have a board of this will basically pop 4 battle cards on board. Realistically, of course. You can swing twice and then -3 and pop 2 more, or you can swing once, restand, pop 2 more. You gotta be careful though, because when you do this, you're going down the 1, which means you can't use your Trunks counterplay that next turn. So just kind of be cognizant of that. That was one of the problems I did find, that I wasn't necessarily using the right ability at the right time with this. What I should have done. Wow, English is apparently really hard for me today. What I should have done was just keep him at 4 for the first turn. Just maybe swing twice and then pass, or just use the -2 and draw 2 and then pass. If I had 2 of these in my hand, sometimes I would do the -3 and then +1, or do the -2 and +1 plus underneath it. But I think this is really good. I think it's really good at 3. I may run it at 4 because it's still really cheap and people aren't really playing this one right now. So and blue's going to be really strong next set, so we may bump it up to 4. Now for the MVP of the deck. This Unison here is the new spice in blue. I watched over the weekend, somebody play it in the Dalen Mack tournament. I felt really happy that I wasn't the only person who was doing this. I also felt a little mad because I thought I came up with some spice that no one else did yet, but that's okay. I'm probably one of the first people to play it, so fine. I'll take a little credit, not a lot though. So this card here is awesome, especially in this deck. So this deck has a lot of abilities. The first one we're never really going to use. You and your opponent draw a card, and then they mill the next card on top of their deck. This is going to be interesting since we do play a mill deck where we can actually mill them out to win. Works if they have 3 cards left in deck. Then they basically on their next turn they draw their card and they lose. They have 2 cards left in deck. They basically lose. It's just kind of an interesting little game mechanic you can use to win games. But if you don't do that, it's okay. The +1 is plenty. So this here is a +1, gets 1 marker, gets crit for the turn. Okay, on its own, it's good. It's 15k swing every single turn. But with this leader, it's a little more interesting. So for 2 energy, you can make this a 25k triple strike crit. Wow. That's really hard to deal with for any deck. You have a 25k base triple strike crit coming at your face. That's not including super combos or beans or anything else like that. That's really strong. And the second effect, because we are going to be milling them Our opponent's going to be drawing cards. Activate main, activate battle. If your opponent has 15 or less cards in their deck, this card gains 15k power and triple strike. So, what you can essentially do, swing with this, get 4 markers on board. They say no negates. You -3. This card becomes a 30k triple strike. And then you can use your leader effect and just tap 2 energy and then give him 10k. And then you can just combo. So he's sitting at 40k triple strike. It's nuts. I know a lot of people, probably not on this hype train yet because they're still doing the Obuni Zeno stuff, which, like I said, is really good, and that's why I ran it in the side deck, because I'm so comfortable with playing Obuni and Zeno. But with multicolor, I don't think it's with as much multicolor as we ran in the deck. Didn't think it was really a good idea to run the Zeno. So this here, amazing. I think it's my new favorite blue Unison until the new baby one comes out, or another one comes out or whatever. But this here is just insane. If you guys haven't bought them yet, do it. I think this is gonna make blue even more strong than what it already is. Final cards, we got Fu. I ended up winning a game with this offensively, and then I won a game with this defensively. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but since you do play it, once you play this card, your opponent can't do anything on their turn either. So it negates all skills except for their leader skill. So, the turn where I couldn't attack anymore, I think he played Topa. No, he played Dormant Legend. So I couldn't attack anymore, and I just overwhelmed this out and then just passed. So then I stopped the Ginyu player from doing anything on his turn. Couldn't use any abilities, nothing. Outside of his leader, of course, and I was able to take the game off that defensive step. The offensive way I did it, I just played it. My opponent can use any super combos, and then you just kind of swing once and just combo on top of it, and then you're going to win, generally. The other big boy is Smoke. I feel this is the best secret rare in the game when it comes to just being good at everything. This can go in any deck. You just have to have 12 cards in your drop area to make it a 5k. And to make it a 5-drop. If you don't, he's a 10. You have 2, as long as the card hits the board, and there's only 2 cards that really stop this right now, which is Hit Deadly Vanguard, which went up to like $40 now, or the Trunks super combo, because, the Trunks counterplay. So if you play this, like if they play Frieza, when this card's played, it becomes a 10-drop, so Frieza doesn't hit it, because Frieza only hits up to 7. So there's nothing else that really hits this card. Unless its skills negated by like Frost Deadly Poison or something, but when you play this, then you activate main, and you can do 1 of 3 things. You can either make them warp 4 cards from their hand that you choose. They warp the top 7 of their deck, and you draw 2, or you warp their entire board, ignoring barrier. I did the first two different games. One against Ginyu, one against Android 21, and it ended up winning me both games. The best thing to do is, like I was able to, like an example against the Ginyu player, I warped his whole hand. Next turn, he didn't remove this. He played out some battle cards. He tried to kill me with what he had. This, I used it again. Warped his whole drop area. Warped his whole board, and then I swung in with this with triple strike crit, and then basically game. This thing is just nuts. I know it's like $200 now, but if this ever drops back down in price, buy this. This is the best secret in the game, and probably will be unless we see something really, really crazy come out from set 11. Now, sideboard, obviously, we already know part of my sideboard, which is the Zeno and Obuni package. Like I said, I never sided it in, never had a reason to. Maybe in the future, but I'm going to keep it here. Hopefully this card doesn't get banned. It shouldn't. I know there's lots of talks about it, but it shouldn't get banned. It's a really, really, really good card, but there's so many outs to this card, it's fine. So we have here's what we have in the side deck that we actually used. We used 3 Black Mass Saiyans. I did end up siding all 3 of those in. They all worked against every matchup because everybody's playing cards with skills now. We have this card, which is really funny, an Unexpected Turn. So I played this in one matchup against Ginyu, which if you ever have trouble with Ginyu or really small swarm decks like Skillless, this card will basically annihilate their entire board. So if your opponent has 3 more battle cards and that are 2 or more, actually it wouldn't hit Skillless, but it would if they have the bigger Skillless cards. Anyways, Your opponent, when they play a battle card, as long as they have 3 more battle cards already on the board, my dog's making a lot of noise, I apologize. That card goes to the drop area, and you choose all your opponent's battle cards that are energy cost 2 or less and warp them. So I guess it can work against skillless if your opponent has like a Heartfelt Plea and Ox King and the 2-drop Aider on board. So it technically can work, but you'll warp their entire board, ignoring barrier. Works against AOD, works against, like I said, Ginyu. Any deck that plays a lot of cards on the board at once, it's going to work really, really well against. And then we had the last card was 2 Dende. This card never came into play. I felt like it was a good card because I knew people were playing Zamasu and Android 21. Never came into play, just kind of sat there. I really kind of focused on playing these 2 sets of cards here. So that's what we got there. So this is my new Vegito deck. I'm going to be running this deck for the next few tournaments until I find it not being as powerful, or until I find some new things to add to it, which then I will make an update video for it. But hopefully we can get some gameplay on this deck in the future. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.